Welcome back to the channel, guys. Simplypops here, and Apple is set to announce iOS 17 at WWDC 23, with the release being in the fall. Now, in this video, I'm going to share with you guys my wish list features, things I want to see on iOS 17. For iPadOS, I'm going to make a separate video on that, so make sure you guys subscribe to the channel with notifications on so you guys don't miss that one. Now, this wallpaper that you guys are seeing right now, I created it myself. I am creating a wallpaper pack based on Las Vegas. As you guys know, I've been to CES, had a fantastic experience to the point where I wanted to make my own wallpaper pack. It is not available right now, but if it is available, I'll throw a link in the description as well as a pinned comment. So feature number one, I want to see Apple Music translation. So we recently had the inclusion of Sing, which is an awesome feature. If you haven't tried it already, I highly encourage you guys to do so, but it would be nice to see Apple Music translation. So in this case here, I'm listening to Bad Bunny and I don't understand Spanish at all. The only thing I know is si, yo, thu, but everything else I don't understand it, and I wish I could be able to understand it. I'm trying to learn Spanish, but it would have been really cool to have a toggle in the Apple Music settings to have translations. That would be really awesome. So I want to see that on iOS 17. It might be a lot of work to implement every single song, but it could roll out slowly but surely to all songs. And staying on the Apple Music category, you guys see these playlists here. Some of these playlists refresh every Monday morning or Friday night. It would be cool if these things get refreshed daily. So in this case, I like to listen to my favorite mix. You know, Apple does a very good job knowing what exactly are my favorite tracks that I like to listen to, but instead of it being refreshed every Tuesday, why not every day? I know on YouTube Music they have a mix where it's daily, but on Apple you gotta wait every Tuesday to get new set of songs. Next up, Dynamic Island. I want to see more features, maybe the notifications on the island. I want to see more features, such as notifications on the island, for example. It should wrap around the island. You should be able to have quick replies, maybe have your emojis. I'm just thinking out loud, especially with all the iPhone 15 models featuring that dynamic island. Okay, next up on the camera application, we should be able to have a toggle for HDR. So right now, I have HDR disabled. We should have an HDR toggle, right? If I go up here, there should be a toggle to enable or disable HDR. Sometimes I don't know when I'm recording HDR. Sometimes it's a little hard to tell. So now if I want to shoot HDR, I gotta back out of here. I gotta launch the settings application. Then I gotta go all the way down into the camera. I gotta look for it first. And then I gotta, where is it? I gotta tap on record video and I gotta enable HDR. Now that is gonna be annoying if you don't have time to be going to the settings and going back and forth. It could get tedious, but then sometimes you don't want to record HDR, so you got to toggle this back off. So Apple should implement a setting right here on the camera application to enable or disable HDR. Or even better yet, Apple should add in a pro mode onto the camera application. So adjust the ISO, the shutter speed, the aperture, and then maybe have ProRes, maybe tweak up some of the ProRes settings, enable, disable HDR. They should have a pro mode. And staying within the camera app, if I launch up my control center, you can see I have my orientation locked. So I cannot rotate it landscape. It's got to stay into portrait. But on the camera app, somehow you can change orientations, and you could tell it's changed because the 4K toggle is switched around. So now when I switch it back, it's back into the portrait and orientation, even though my orientation is locked. For the camera application, the orientation should always be locked. It should always be locked if I have it set to lock on the control center here. I don't know why is it not a thing on the camera app, because imagine this is in a gimbal or in a cage. You want to have it set exactly the way how you want it. Sometimes the iPhone is going to record it in horizontally and then portrait. That could get annoying. And next up, I know you guys are going to love this one. More iCloud storage. I mean, this goes without saying, especially if you have the free iCloud storage tier, but 5 gigs, that is not enough in 2023. Apple should give us 10 gigs of free iCloud storage easily, and maybe keep it at 50 gigs at 99 cents, or maybe have 100 gigs for 99 cents. 5 gigs is not enough. It's enough to store your contacts and everything, but 10 gigs at least. Come on, Apple. Come on. Next up, this should be a feature that we should have had a long time ago. Clipboard history. All right, so let's say I'm copying something, right? So I have some IG captions, you know how it is on IG. So I copy this, right? And let's say I want to copy this. Now, whatever I copied before, it's not going to recognize that anymore. So be able to copy multiple texts and even images, have it memorized in the background. And then whenever you need it, right? Let's say I need it, and you tap on paste. When you tap on paste, they should give you a list of what you want to paste exactly. That would be fantastic. I mean, to be able to have a history of all the things that you copy, maybe not all, maybe limited to maybe 5 or maybe 8, that would increase my productivity by 5%, at least by 5%. Because now if you open up multiple apps and you open up this, you want to copy a text here, then copy this text, you know, it's going to speed my workflow a little bit on my iPhone and even on the iPad. You know, I think iOS 16 should strongly implement that. That would increase productivity by a margin. All right, next up, we should be able to set multiple timers using Siri. For 10 seconds.
10 seconds, starting now.
Start another timer for 10 seconds. See? So now you already have a timer. So now you're gonna have to replace that timer with the other. Like, you should have multiple timers set. It should be no excuse. Let's say you're cooking lasagna and you editing a video or you're doing something else. You should be able to have multiple timers right here. Now here's a feature I've been asking for a long time, and I don't think Apple is gonna do it. Lock applications. You should be able to lock certain applications, put it behind Touch ID or Face ID to unlock it. So for instance, let's say I want to lock Snapchat. Anybody can go on my Snapchat right now and be able to snap away. But to be able to lock your applications, if I tap on this, it should be a lock. And to authenticate with Face ID or Touch ID to open up the application. Next, we should have an AirPods application. Very similar to the Apple Watch app. We at a point in time where we need an AirPods application on the iPhone. I mean, we have so many AirPods now, some with noise canceling, some with transparency. We should be able to tweak up some of the AirPods settings, such as lowering down the transparency or increasing the noise canceling. It would be so much better than going into, and now yes, Apple make it simple. When you go into the settings, you see AirPods Max, you tap on it. But we at a point in time now where now the settings app is getting cluttered now. You know what I mean? Now it's getting cluttered. We need a desperate redesign on the settings application here. Be able to show useful stats, such as maybe your storage, have beautiful bars and graphs to indicate how much storage you have, maybe your battery health. Having key essential widgets on the settings application is a nice breath of fresh air. I want to go all the way down into music. EQ. We should be able to have adjustable, customizable EQ sliders. This preset stuff is just not working out anymore. I mean, it's cool, you know, it's easy to understand what's what, but for the professionals, for the pros, having the adjustable EQ sliders, nothing would ever beat that. All right, so these days I've been listening to a lot of podcasts. When I'm at the gym, I listen to the Joe Budden podcast, Roll the R, brand new podcast, supporting the smaller creators too as well. Be able to have animated what do you call these, covers would be ideal. I think that would add a nice attention to detail, or even if you add like a little video, or maybe even implement some kind of video onto the podcast would be pretty freaking cool too to have. So maybe reamp the Apple Podcast in general. And I know maybe for the Apple servers, adding video now to the mix could be a little too much for it to handle, but nonetheless, animated covers at least will be pretty cool. It's very similar to how it is on Apple Music. So you can see how the background is moving or is animated. So you see the sky is moving. Now, next up on the list, we have icon packs in the App Store. Now, as you can see, right from the very beginning, I have a custom icon pack. Shout out to Siobhan Salmon. This is his album. I said album. This is his icon pack. And I think it's clean, it's minimalistic, and it kind of goes hand in hand with my wallpaper here. Maybe I might make some icon packs too, maybe in the foreseeable future, but Apple should be able to sell icon packs, whether if it's free or paid. you should be able to purchase or download icon packs on the App Store natively. And that leads me to the next feature. We should have redesign icons. Bring the same exact macOS icons from Ventura onto iOS 17. Those icons are super clean, just look so, it brings skeuomorphism, and the flatness of the icons is just enough where you're gonna notice it. And alongside with that redesign, why not redesign the control center? I mean, we've been seeing the same control center since iOS 11, and we on iOS 17. So it's been quite some time since we've been seeing this control center. So for instance, the media platter, why not have an album artwork? Instead of pressing and holding and then you see it, we should have the album cover within the platter, or just have a whole entire media platter on the top where you could be able to seek through your music. Now I know we have the dynamic island, it makes things a lot more easier. And as you can see, the control center here can get very cluttered if you have some smart home devices. Next up, split screen multitasking. You guys saw this one coming. To be able to open up Instagram, and let's say I want to open up Twitter at the same time on one screen, that would be pretty amazing. Just like on the iPad, we have split screen multitasking side by side. We should have that on the iPhone, especially on the Plus and the Max models. We should be able to have two applications at the same time. Next up, to be able to place your icons anywhere. So you guys can see I have my icons placed on the bottom right. Now I just have blanks on the top and I have blanks on the side. Next up, we should be able to place icons anywhere on the home screen. Now, I have a blank on the top and blanks on the side. This is just a courtesy of Blank Widget. It is free on the App Store, but we should be able to natively place app icons anywhere. For me, I like having them on the bottom right just for ease of reach on my thumb. Next up on the list, mute switch customization. Now, if you watch Tylos of Tech, you know where I'm coming from with this. Now, let's say you don't use this at all. I always have my phone on silent or vibrate. So why not customize this, right? Customizing the mute switch to maybe orientation lock, maybe do not disturb would be pretty cool. Have it something that's more tailored to you. I want to see new features to Apple Maps. Apple Maps came a long way better than iOS 6. So now on iOS 17, I want them to take it a step further. I want them to include movie showtimes. So if I want to watch Avatar, I should be able to see the time of Avatar and maybe potentially book a ticket, or even for a restaurant, see the menu right there on Apple Maps without going to Safari, going to the website and then looking at the map. I think it adds Apple Maps to a whole nother level, because once you get to your destination, now you got to see what you're going to order or what you're going to do at that set location. So now the lock screen received a major overhaul on iOS 16. That was nice, but all of that and you still cannot change the lock screen toggles here. So the toggles on the bottom here, but why not change that into the calculator application? You should be able to customize that, especially for the camera. You could swipe like this and get to your camera, or you could press the toggle, or you could activate it through your control center here. So many ways to access the camera. So why not be able to customize that toggle to have it to what you want? I want to shift my focus to iMessage. iMessage is one of the most popular messaging services here in the States. I want to see more features. Of course I want to see more features. So I want to be able to see more effects. So for example, those happy birthday text messages, you see all the balloons. I want to be able to see more screen effects here on iOS 17. So similar effect, this is a cool feature, but get more. Let's get more. Or open it up to third-party developers. So all this stuff is cool, but I'm kind of getting tired of seeing them. We've seen them so many times, but yeah, have more. Maybe have a dog, or maybe have your Memoji pop out here or something like that. Or like I said, open it up to third-party developers, or change the colors of the balloons. Something. Let's have some new effects on iOS 17. I think the Memoji idea is pretty cool. Now I want to talk about Airdrop. Airdrop is one of those features where you don't even think about it. You just airdrop a picture to your Mac from your iPhone and it just works. But on iOS 16, recently, Apple made it where everyone for 10 minutes. And after those 10 minutes, it's going to revert back to contacts only. This should be set to everyone at all time. And I understand the reason why what's going on in China and the privacy, but that should only affect them, not here in the States, not for everybody. Because when I was at CES in Vegas, we taking pictures, this one's taking that picture, so now I can't see my phone. So now I gotta go into the settings, or I went to the control center and I just be able to set it here for 10 minutes. It's not nothing wrong with it, but I normally always have it set to everyone. Next, I want to see a super low power mode. So low power mode, it works, but why not have a super low power mode? So maybe disabling 5G, or even making the whole screen black and white, because believe it or not, color is going to drain the battery life. So a super low power mode, a low power mode on steroids. If you're in that critical percentage, like 5%, and you need every single juice you need, having a super low power mode would be essential, especially if you need to take an Uber or you need to call somebody. They should be able to lock certain applications that's draining out the battery. Yeah, they should have a super low power mode if you're in those situations. Now, something else I got on the Android side, I'm on Instagram here. So if I open up the app switcher, the iPhone should automatically detect there's a picture here. So I should be able to tap and hold this image, and I could be able to save it onto my camera roll without screenshotting it, right? Screenshotting it, and then I gotta crop it out. This takes time. So with the iPhone, you should be able to have the app switcher open. iPhone is gonna detect this as a picture. You tap on save and you're good to go. And I'm gonna throw this one out there too, since we're talking about the app switcher. We should be able to clear all apps. Now, yes, I know this isn't necessary. You don't need to clear all your applications. iOS will know what applications to, like, it'll know what RAM it needs and all that. So to this day, I never close out my applications. I want to see multiple audio sources. So for example, I'm playing music, right? And I'm launching up Safari. Then you had an ad that plays. I don't even know what's gonna pop up. Is hot dog a sandwich? Is a hot dog a sandwich? I don't know. Sometimes if there's an ad playing on Safari, it'll pause my music to play the audio for that ad. iOS doesn't have it where you have multiple audio playing at the same time. Now, certain applications, they have support for it. Most importantly, I want to see bug fixes, improvements. You know, a lot of people have been having difficulties with iOS 16. It's been a rough release for iOS 16. But nonetheless, I want to see mostly improvements on iOS 17. So guys, that pretty much concludes today's video. If you guys enjoyed, I appreciate it with a thumbs up. Share this video with your friends. Follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and on Twitter at Simplypops. And remember, my wallpaper pack will be releasing very soon. If you guys want to purchase it, I'll throw a link in the description, and as well as a pinned comment. And don't forget to subscribe with notifications on for more videos like this one. And until next time, guys, I hope you guys have a simple day. Peace.